very warm welcome to our panel session tonight, or today, not really tonight. My name is Olaf Steinhager. I'm from HCB, member of Harvard HDL, based here in Berlin. So my German is perfect. My English is hopefully fair enough for today or tonight. Probably I have to look for one or two words, but I'm sure all of my panelists will help me for that. Yeah, thank you very much. We have a very interesting theme tonight, innovative lifestyle investments on the run to the highest and best use. And I have a really exclusive panel here. Very happy for the guys who are sitting with me on the panel. We are starting after just introducing my panel with 4 small videos that you come into our world, what we want to discuss, and then give you the possibility to ask and discuss with us about all the things that might be interesting for you. I would like to start with the far left, Navneet Bali, CEO of Meininger. Since 2013, he is the CEO of Meininger after a long period of very very interesting experience at the Duet Group with the joint venture of Holiday Inn Express Hotels, e-bookers, and HVS International. So a wide range of experience in this hospitality branch. Then the second one is Frederick Corrales. He rocks the generator development in Europe. Frederick is also with a very, very wide range of experience coming from Residor, making a great job there. Also at the Hotel Collection, a group of 21 hotels in across the UK. We have Sean Walker. Sean Walker is President and CEO of Bridge Street Global Hospitality. Very interesting product. Sean is also coming out of the industry with a product, more than 50,000 apartments all over the world in more than 60 countries. Was before at the Wyndham organization, Marriott, Intercontinental, so also a wide range of experience. And we have at my left, we have Gregory Lanter. He is the Vice President Global Development of Club Med. Since 2009, you're doing the job. And Club Med, I think everybody knows about that, more than 60 clubs all over the world. And we will see what his part will be in this panel here. So I would like to start really with 4 small videos that leads us a little bit into the theme, and we will start with the Meininger.
Hello, good morning. My name is Nasida. I'm coming from Rome, and today I'm in Brussels. I checked in yesterday at the Meininger Hotel, and I'm doing just a little bit of sightseeing. Just follow me. And finally, I arrived at the Cathedral of Saint Michel. I already visited the town hall, ate something just in front of the Meininger piece, just a little bit of golf, and then bought the chocolate for my parents, of course. But to be honest, right now I'm really starving and I want to eat something and check the guest kitchen, of course, and cook something for myself. Just come with me now.
fantastic hotel. Very cool.
It's very, very clean. It's magnifico. Huh?
The breakfast is very healthy and very complete.
Our room's really nice. I mean, we've come from a few dodgy hostels, and this is one of the nicest we've been in. So it looks nice and comfortable, and nice shower, which is always a bonus. So that's good.
What a unique experience and building. I just discovered that it used to be a fabrique, the brewery of Bellevue. It's so tasty, and the mining gear just turned it into a hotel, an eco-friendly hotel. Okay, it's time for me to get back home. I really enjoyed my experience here. It was unique. The food was amazing and the staff was very friendly. I hope I will come back. I definitely will come back.
So that's Meininger. Another world.
Generator, a travel and lifestyle hostel brand redefining hospitality. Across 14 locations and over 9,000 beds worldwide, Generator offers accommodation, bars, restaurants, cafes and events. By creating communities through lifestyle programming and award-winning design, we have become the choice for global nomads and local neighbours. We take a highly curated experience, once exclusive to luxury boutique hotels, and make it accessible to all. Design is our passion, creating spaces where moments and memories resonate with our guests. Generator's design transforms the affordable hospitality sector, recognised by prestigious design awards and press stories around the world. Our commitment to design extends to our rooms, built for comfort, safety and convenience. Each location features a mix of shared rooms of different sizes, private twins and luxury suites. Generator guests come in all forms, from solo travellers, friends and large groups. Whatever form they come in, they all have one thing in common. They are interesting and interested in music, food, experience, meeting new people, and attending the unique events we put on. Over 3 million of these curious individuals join our community each year, sharing their stories on social media with millions of followers. Generator is found in the dynamic neighbourhoods of global cities, urban locations with a connection to culture, history, great food, and vibrant nightlife. We are a warm, welcoming community, and our team is as individual, engaged, and connected as our guests. Come in, hang out, Generator.
So, I think a fantastic world of 4 completely different products with complete different stories behind. For me, it's just the role to bring probably the discussion to you, give you the possibility to ask and bring some points just for discussion into the thing. Navneet, I would like to start with you. 2013, you started with Meininger. What was your idea? What is the innovative or the lifestyle, what we have seen? What was the main point in your development?
When my company, the group I belong to, Cox & Kings, bought Meininger, it was largely German-centric, 16 hotels with 9 in Germany, 4 in Berlin, and 4 in Austria. So the really challenge was, and very high occupancies, high profit, big demand for the product. So I feel there's a big and unsatisfied demand for this product across the world, not just in Europe. So the first attempt was to build a pipeline to expand the group. So we've signed 10 deals since then in 9 cities, of which 7 outside Germany. So France, Spain, Italy, and also Hungary, Budapest. So we expanded the group. Now we are going to double our capacity in terms of signed deals. And that's the focus, really, is to expand the group, to make everybody have this, opportunity to stay in a Meininger, not just in Germany and Austria. So that's been the challenge. We've also partnered with some very unique and well-known partners. We've partnered with Fonce de Mio, part of Fonce de Region, as a capital partner to help us grow and help expand across Europe. And that's been a great partnership, and we've seen the fruits of that with deals in France, in Germany, and Spain, and other locations across Europe with them. So that's helping us grow faster across this continent. So we think that's a great opportunity for us, and that's what been my focus, if you like.
Okay. What is your main target group? What are your guests? Where are they coming from?
We have. The great thing about Meininger as a brand is it's a hybrid between a hotel and a hostel. As you saw in the video, we have both hostel customers as well as traditional budget hotel customers. So we have school groups who come and stay with us, which would go traditionally to a hostel. It means they can share a room. We also have backpackers, people who don't know each other sharing a room. We have people coming for celebration, for fun, if you like, stag nights, hen parties, going for a gig in Amsterdam, watching a football match, coming in groups. So these are traditional hostel customers who stay with us. Then we also have families staying with us because we have 6-bedded rooms, 3-bedded rooms, 4-bedded rooms, and the regular hotel rooms as well. They can stay with us. We also have business people staying with us because these are well-located hotels right next to railway stations or airports. And the quality of the hotel is of a designer budget quality, and therefore it all has all the facilities that a businessman would want. So we can combine all these guests, if you like, in one. So we have these target customers, and because of that, we enjoy very high demand for the product. Occupancy this year's average is 90%. Room occupancy last 3 years has been 88, 89, 90. We enjoy high profit margin. I believe in terms of profit per square meter, this and similar products, and I'm sure you'll hear from my friend here, it's the same story. It makes probably more profit per square meter than any other hotel brand in the world.
Mm-hmm. And we come later to some numbers, I think I would like to think. Thank you very much. I think just the opposite of this thing is Club Med, a luxury product that gives you all the lifestyle and all the experience you want to have if you want to enjoy the best weeks of your year. So Gregory, what is happening with Club Med in the last 2 years? We have seen, I think, not a typical Club Med in the video. It was another product.
It's indeed something a bit different and a bit new, which is villa product that people can buy and then enjoy their villa experience with the all-inclusive experience that you would find in a Club Med resort. So that means that you are not alone in your villa, but you can then enjoy the kid facility, the entertainment, the shows, the sport facilities, and that brings another value to the villa. So that's, in a way, the reason why we have put this video forward is because we are speaking about lifestyle. You saw the video. It's everything about the experience that you share. It's about an investment because people are investing in these villas, and it's about innovative because an all-inclusive villa is something that you may not find in a lot of places. Now about Club Med and lifestyle, I believe that we were at the inception of lifestyle in the 50s when Club Med was created. It was all about having guests in a resort and bringing them to experience something. And this experience was definitely not about the walls of the resort, because at that time we were operating tents, huts, Tahitian huts. That was the product of Club Med in the 50s. So the question now is, how does Club Med remain a modern product? And I feel very old compared to what you're doing now with this Club Med thing. But at the end of the day, what we're selling to the guests is an experience of people. A guest coming to Club Med comes to Club Med because he knows that he's going to find good accommodation. He knows that he's going to find a good service, reasonably good service. Now we're upscale. But then he knows also that he's going to meet people. And when you're in a product that is about meeting people, what you have, the modernity that you have, is brought by the guest that you have in the resort. Every guest comes with his experience, with the year he has spent, and he shares his experiences with the people in front of him. And by this type of product, by a product that is based on sharing human experiences, you're always modern. And so that's what we're aiming at, and that's what we think, that we're still innovative. But then the actuality of Club Med over the last 2 years, I think I could spend an hour on it, because we've been through a very fierce takeover battle between an Italian group and a Chinese group. Now we have a Chinese shareholder, which in this industry of resort and in the world in which we are is very important. Having Chinese guests in a resort when you're operating in Asia is essential. But having Chinese guest possibilities in Europe is also very important. So being backed by a Chinese shareholder is for us very important. And I must say, and I just end this very short point on this, is for our Chinese guests, the experience that we are offering in Club Med is something that is completely new, completely different. And for them, it is extremely modern, it is extremely innovative, because they didn't know this before. So they are fresh in this market. And that's also about, on our side, finding the new markets that will fill the resort that we'll have tomorrow. So our aim now is developing strongly the brand, developing strongly the resorts, always based on this lifestyle experience that we offer. That's our current business.
Yeah. Sean, a very interesting business from your side, 60,000 apartments all over the world, you told me yesterday, especially in US and UK, with more ideas for Europe. What is your idea and your business concept behind Bridge Street Hospitality? 6 brands we have seen in the video.
What we have in common, and you're going like, okay, how are they stitching this together? We can read an audience now and again, so it's okay. Is that we're very focused on a sense of community, be it in a student or different type of traveler, youth, corporate traveler, or a community in Club Med. So our premise is over the last 6 years is taking something rather disparate and largely misunderstood, which is service departments, and tried to do a number of things to it, make it understood. 6 price points, high end to economy. We made it widely available. I know this may come as a shock, but we apparently are the only ones in our space that you can actually book us in real time. So we finally caught up with some Century, I'm not too sure which one. And so the value prop, where largely I'd understand most of your customers are leisure-based, ours is largely corporate-based. So 85% of our mix is corporate, 15% of it leisure. And leisure is definitely growing for us as we have encouraged our customers become more experiential. And there's also seems to be another theme that we also promote the fact that there's pubs around the corner and bars and restaurants that, no disrespect to my former hotel colleagues, you get a great quality of experience around where you live. And that's very common, I think, with all of us. And we've focused very much on that sense of community. You've heard that word come up a number of times, and to instill that sense of gaining a memory, be it on the balcony of King's Wardrobe, listening to St. Paul's bells ringing, or possibly drunken louts of my Irish colleagues in Temple Bar that are having a good time, but they're probably Australians, to be very clear, as you heard. And equally, making it easy for the personas, and just talking about the personas. Our personas on a direct basis, a traveler, a travel director, and the persona of the guest, and the third persona is the investor. And we speak very much to those personas in how, for a travel director, we're a solution, we're a one-stop shop through 50,000 units on our marketplace, 4,000 are owned by ourselves, another 50-odd thousand are in a marketplace that we match. So we're kind of blending, we've got a foot in 2 worlds, the .com world and the practical world, and that seems to resonate quite well. We run in excess of 92% occupancy. RevPAR is complementary with a 4-star hotel, so very little vacancy in many respects, so it's a very efficient model, and we continue to expand that. We're developing one hotel model, which is an apart hotel mode, which you can see in the main hall, largely geared again to community, 46 to 65 units in A+A locations. We're opening one on the Champs-Élysées near the Arc de Triomphe, another one in Washington, D.C., at DuPont Circle, which would be the kind of equivalent to Mayfair or primary area in the UK. We're all throughout Europe as well, and Paris. So kind of community, sense of community, and all of us have pubs.
For me, it's very interesting. If we're talking about your apartments, it's really the idea of core business into this apartment, nothing around. You use your neighborhood for all the things. Mm-hmm. I'm absolutely, what is the word in English? So, fantastic if I saw your developments, Frederick, because you are building places in the cities that are obviously more than just a hostel. So what is your story about the generators?
Well, let me start by telling the difference between Meininger and Club Med from us, and then I'll come to your answer.
Okay.
So what different was everything you said, I'm not going to repeat because we share a lot of in common. We do a little bit less groups. We probably do slightly older demographic. We focus a lot more on bars and restaurants. We don't like the term food and beverage because I think food and beverage is this poisonous thing that the hotel industry has really got wrong. If we don't have successful bars and restaurants, we fail. we must bring the local community in. So it's a huge focus on engaging the local community, because our guests want to meet the local community. They want to meet neighborhood. They don't even want to meet city. They want to discover new things. I call our customer the seeker. They're out exploring. So food and beverage, bars, restaurants is critical. Huge focus on activation. So there is music, discos, fashion shows. We have our own version of TED Talks, which are called Gen Talks. So there's we invest a lot in activational space so that people, when they come, they have a reason to stay, and that the local community comes in and mixes and mingles with us. The other thing that's very interesting, and I would say we share a lot with Club Med also in terms of selling experiences. For us, it's probably more of it's not a family experience, it's not an activity-based experience, it's more of a social engagement with culture and music and art and fashion and meeting. People are there to meet. We also do a split. We do about 70% of our rooms is shared and 30% are private, but it varies by market. When we open in Miami, it'll be 50-50 because the Americans have a different view on sharing. I don't mean that negatively, but they don't have the same sense of sleeping in a room with strangers. Versus Europeans who accept it very much. So we'll scale it up or down. The other interesting thing that is a very, very, very different versus our colleagues in the hotel industry is that we're selling beds. And when you're selling beds, you're adding a tremendous complexity to revenue management. All the big brands, their systems are not capable of selling beds. They're capable of selling rooms. So revenue management, when you have 4 people in a room who may or may not know each other, may want a gender room, so it's women only or male only, and we're selling beds at different prices, right? So our average price is right now about 37 euros, but you have 37 times 4 or 37 times 6, and it beats most mid-market hotels. But we also get 4 breakfasts and 4 beers and 4 hot dogs out of these people, so instead of 1.2 guests per room, we have a much higher volume. So it's a big volume game, a lot of cash, very good margins. I can ramble on.
Just to come along with that, what is your relation between F&B and your room revenues in the house?
Our ambition is to make it above 50% on non-room or non-bed. We actually talk about bed revenue. It's interesting. We're not there yet. In many markets, we're dealing with legislation. Different governments, different political groups have a view on hostels. So I'll give you an example. In Rome, there's a non-profit or a profit type hostel. And if you go for a non-profit hostel, it's all controlled by the church. And it's very difficult. It's all tax-free, and the church takes the benefit, which is nice. So they've created a new category now that is for-profit, which we're going to be doing the first for-profit hostel in Rome. And some of this legislation restricts you on how you're allowed to bring in guests from outside or not. So you work around that by creating clubs, events that allows them to come in. But in London, we have a closed shop. We're not allowed. The only way I can serve an external guest in London is if I do a 3-course meal, which definitely doesn't happen in Generator. So we've messed around with that. I said, can we do spoons or something like this? But that doesn't fly. The council doesn't like it. But I have 1,000 guests in-house, so food and beverage is still a very big piece of our life.
What part of the facility of the square meter that you have would be dedicated to the public facilities?
It's actually larger than that. We put a lot of focus on bars, restaurants, chill-out areas, screening rooms, in some places recording studios for artists. But we want to bring them in, shared office space. We're just building now, we're converting in Stockholm, and we're creating an entire level of just activities and events floor, which will be for groups, but also press conferences and gaming events. And so we've actually taken rooms out of inventory to create food and beverage space.
So that's interesting because there are more similarities.
Absolutely.
Because in Club Med, 50% of the size of what we build is usually meant for people to be together and to meet together.
Yes.
So that's a very huge investment because that's the place where you create the exchanges.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The other thing is for a very long time in Club Med, you would share the room with someone who you didn't know.
Yeah. In the beginning.
And not only someone you met at the party.
And you had beads.
And you had beads, but you don't have these beads.
No.
Huh?
Never
Are you looking for a royalty?
Yeah, I think, but we may find royalties in a.
No, but I like
some
the
products.
commonality. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
We don't have. We have some. We don't have a lot in common other than we like each other.
Nothing that
And he
would.
wants me to handle his apartments.
Yeah, that's
I have 3 apartments here.
I can testify. It was yesterday.
I would like
It's
to
still
come back-
going on.
It's still
I'd like to
going.
come back to the Meininger concept, and also just in comparison with all the things we saw in the last years, limited services, all the Holiday Inn Expresses, all the things going down with the service, just rooms, and probably a smartphone check-in and check-out. If we talk about efficiency in your real estate products, what are your benchmarks per bed or something? How many square meters do you spend for a
About
bed?
8 to 10 square meters per bed.
8 to 10, including all the
Everything.
public
GFA.
spaces. Okay.
And we don't need basements because we don't need parking.
Yeah.
So it's mostly exactly what it is.
Yeah,
It's a very efficient product. I mean, because of the fact that we don't use huge back offices. I mean, in a hotel, for example, if anybody went to the Steigenberger party yesterday, next to Steigenberger is a Meininger.
Yeah, I know
right? And it's a 296-room hotel, 6 years old, right next to the station, 800 beds. Its back office would be, what do you think, Eric? How much?
7 square feet.
So 80 square feet, 80 square feet, right? That's the efficiency of the model, because it's very much everything is done in the head office. Everything at the hotel is really about looking after guests.
Yeah.
Are they safe? Are they comfortable? Are they checked in well? Have they paid their bills? And have they, is the housekeeping clean? That sort of thing. So it's very efficient in terms of they don't care. If you go to the hotel, they don't have any idea what rate you'll pay. It's all decided by the yield managers, etc., centrally. All the bills are paid by accounts centrally. HR, everything is central. It's nothing in the hotel except looking after guests. The other thing about Meininger, and my experience of being a hotelier for the last 30 years I've been an investor. I've been a CIO of a hotel fund. So I can see from, these things work if they are investor friendly. That's the bottom line about any business model. And Meininger is a very investor friendly model. It's also a very customer friendly model. It works for customers. It's great value for money. It's great for investors because you get great returns per square foot, as I said. So, it seems to work very well with high demand. Also, the demand pattern is...
I'll add a point that you share too. We haven't said that, but CapEx-wise, the guest room has a much longer life cycle than a hotel room because we put a lot less into it. So you might get 10 years out of it, but also cost to build per room is lower because you're not putting anything in it. You may have some televisions. We don't have televisions, no telephones, no safes. We keep it very bare bones, so lower cost to build. But you have a higher cycle in the public areas with more wear and tear.
Yeah, and talking about technology, I mean, the key in terms of facility, what we provide is free Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
We've always done that, and fast Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And Eric, my colleague, and I, we discuss it all the time. For us, it's like hot water in the room. It has to be hot, sharp, fast, right?
Yeah.
And free.
And free.
No coins.
So if you go to a Meininger hotel, the download speed is 50 megabytes per second.
You could probably sell water, but not Wi-Fi.
It's like your office. So you want to see these guys who come and stay. They use mobile phones. They're downloading things and movies or whatever they want to see, and it has to be fast.
Yeah.
Right. So what else do you need in a room? You need a good phone, and you have your phone, smartphone, whatever, and you need fast Wi-Fi. And as Fred was saying, people don't really stay in the room. They want to go to the public areas. So the public areas, you saw the video on Brussels. It's designed to have fun, to share experiences, bar. The difference with Generate, if I may say so, is our focus is not on food and beverage. It's very much on the room and also on the experiences they have in terms of sharing things. So there's food, there's breakfast. It's fairly simple. It's what you would get in a Holiday Inn Express buffet. But you have bars, you have grab and go. You have everything available to you if you're a businessman, as you would be in a Holiday Inn Express or somebody. But our focus is very much that we are here, we're enabling you. You go to Generator next door and have a beer if you want, but you can have it here as well. Or you go to the discotheque next door. And so the location is very crucial. It's very easy, or the crucial thing is that the guest should be able to not need to take a taxi, for example, to get to a museum. If he's a school group, or if he's going to work, he can take a metro or a S-Bahn or whatever it is, right? So it has to be very centrally located. So location is very important.
And I think that is one of the points that, in our experience, is really interesting, because the competition of the locations is really running high. And years ago, nobody thinks about a hostel in a AAA or AA location. And we, in our experience, we have a lot of projects just right now where we have a 4- or 5-star hotel development that's competing with hostel development, where everybody says, okay, how to arrange that. I would really like to open the discussion if there are any questions or any things that you like to ask to the panelists. Any points that might be interesting for you? Yeah?
I'd like to know what would be the third-party booking channel contribution into your overall bookings?
Just generally, between all of us?
Each of us.
Club Med has the best.
Yeah.
In Club Med, first, we don't work with OTAs. That's the first thing at all. With some very specialized OTAs, yes, but Expedia, Booking, all these guys, they are not distributing Club Med at all. And that's a choice, not that they are not willing to. And then 60% of the holidays that the guest would spend in a Club Med resort are sold by Club Med staff, either by our shops. We have 40 shops in China, for instance, or by our call center or websites. And the rest is distributed by some selected travel agent partners. For instance, our shareholder Fosun is also a shareholder of Thomas Cook. So Thomas Cook is a partner of Club Med. So we control 100% of the distribution, and we do 60% really via our Club Med staff, people in the world.
So we 85% of our business is direct, and there's about 5% that will place, because of our high occupancies, onto merchant models of one variety or other. So it's very narrow. Heavy sales force, direct.
Yeah, and we're going through a revolution in that area now. We are probably about 40% direct between groups contracting direct and our own website. And we do have the OTAs. They're not they're in the room. They're a necessary part of our lives, but we're definitely going to be investing a lot in more direct opportunity. But groups also goes through third parties sometimes. So 40% direct, and the rest comes through some channel that is non-direct. Yeah. No call center, small sales force. Yeah.
Ours is similar, probably about 45% groups and direct. 45, and the rest is. But I see the OTAs as partners for our growth. I think they're a great enabler for a young brand which is not well known to go out there. Fast growing, you need access and distribution, and it's I think a very efficient way of distributing. Of course, as we go, as become a bigger brand and we're better known, using mobile, and people come directly to you as they recognize your brand, and more repeat purchase, we will reduce the dependency. But as we grow and we want to grow faster, this year our revenue is about 70 million euros. We do a profit margin of about 30% or 50% before rent, and 30% afterwards, with I think industry-leading rent coverage of over 2.4, and that. As we grow forward, we want to, and so we have a good margin despite paying all these commissions to these guys, right? So as we grow, and we want to go 3 times in the next 4 years. So, 3 times the profit, 3 times the revenue. And we've signed about 2 times already the deals. And Nicolas, my friend, is here. So if anybody wants to meet him, he's here to sign more deals. And my colleague here, partner, Fonsi Demure, is here to pay for it. So we got it all covered.
Yeah, there's just one idea I just want to mention. I think if we see all of you and there's one point that we heard, it's the question of community and also a loyalty to the product. I think that is a main experience. So if someone comes to the Generator or Manninger or Club Med or also Bridge Street experience, and he gets a good product for his money and finding the product in the places where he wants to go to, I think there is a high demand of people who are coming just back to your product. Are there any numbers about the people who are coming back to your houses?
I can't answer because we don't have the data. We will have the data, so I don't have an answer. All I can say is that we know from experience that there's a high return factor, and we have a very positive image in the traveling community. I mean, one thing for us is this whole notion of accessible lifestyle. You know, the leaders in lifestyle, people like Ace Hotels and Hoxton, as an example, and Mama Shelter, etc. That's a real lifestyle experience, but it's going to cost you 300-400 euros, right? And we're selling it for 35 euros for a bed, but you get that lifestyle experience in the social spaces. That drives huge demand. Because people can't afford it. A young person cannot afford it unless they get a big check from their daddy, right? Or mommy, depending on who's giving the money. So we offer accessible lifestyle experiences.
I think also we've got about 89% client retention at a corporate level. So there's a high level of trust. We've all got brands, and the value prop is gained with the personas, the guest telling the travel director as an example. So the value of that experience is reinforced by that guest loop that's going back to a travel director. The other element, I'm glad you brought up statistics, is that we're a very statistic-driven company back to the target, which is the travel director. But at the end of the day, they don't really, they want to have a high guest satisfaction, which is about the experience. And they go back and they're efficient going to work. But out of that came us developing the Mode brand, where that's a kind of a hybrid answer about a community lifestyle for a traveler that has a different persona if they're kind of Friday through Sunday, about having that place to meet. We've got a communal area that has wine as part of the free package, high-end coffee like Ely or Segafredo. So you're the place to meet before you go out with your colleagues to a restaurant that more than likely is a mixed-use development that we've created. So it's the place to meet before you go out. So you're kind of coming to your house before you go out, and you have your dinner and you do what you need to do. We also have an Instagram wall, so people are taking pictures because they're staying with us for a long length of stay. You know, in Europe it's about 21 days, in America it's about 83 days, so they're really coming home. So we have to have that sense of home. And so they share pictures of sights and sounds. We haven't figured out how to do smells yet, but we're working on it. So that's kind of fun.
See, the way I look at it from our brand, it's interesting, we're talking about retention, is also over a period of time, it's much longer for us. When the kids come in the school groups, they're 13 to 18 years old, right? They can't drink, they're not supposed to drink. Then when they become 18 plus, they go to university, they come as backpackers. Then after that, they're backpacking, they've done the university, they make it a job, they come for stag nights. Right, so getting a bit older. Then they get older and they have kids. They come as families or as business people. So we think we can track them right through their life.
And retired also.
Then we send them to Club Med when they get a bit.
Okay, that's another.
No, I just wanted to say that obviously these figures of direct business are high figures if you compare it to the hotel industry. Yeah. And I fully believe that this is something in common, is because we sell lifestyle experience, we increase loyalty, and thanks to this loyalty, we can do this direct business. Otherwise, if you have to recruit 90% of your clientele each time, it's not a feasible business to be that much direct. So that's definitely part of our whole business, is the loyalty here, because this experience are creating loyalty.
There was another question? Yeah? Yeah.
Hi, Daniel Bendet from the École Hôtelière. Mr. Corliss, can you take us or elaborate a little bit more on your valuation process when you have, product that fluctuates so drastically with the revenue stream on bars, restaurants, events, and then you also have a new structure of perishability with a bed versus an entire room, and how you value current projects versus new projects?
That's a very complicated question.
It's a very interesting model.
No, it is. So you're talking about assessing new locations? Our choice of destinations is very deliberate in a sense that we need to go to urban markets with high volume. We're not necessarily a strong product for tertiary markets or seasonal markets. We're exploring with some of that, but we're cautiously looking at that. Our model is very flexible. So I'll give you an example in Miami. When we go in, there's going to be about a 50-50 split between shared accommodation and private stock versus Venice, where it's 95% shared, or London, where it's probably 98% shared. And that's due to demographics, it's due to local market trends, etc. So even Stockholm has a higher, we're opening Stockholm in June, there we do about a 60-40 split, because the Scandinavians are quite comfortable with shared accommodation. They actually even they're even open to rooms with no windows, which is quite an unusual, there's a new hotel in Stockholm just opened up subterranean, there are no windows. Which is fantastic.
Land of the Midnight Sun, is it? Or
the
other way around?
Yeah, permanent dark. No, but it works very well. Food, again, the same goes for food and beverage. If you are in London, in our area, Russell Square, there's 1,000 restaurants within 20-minute walk. So for us, we would never want to compete. When we open in Miami, in South Beach, right opposite Fahina, which is just a fantastic location, we'll offer an extremely affordable food and beverage experience, and we'll put a lot of focus on it. If you go to Freehand, which is a very good competitor in the hostel space, you try to get into their restaurant, the Broken Shaker, and there's no seats for the guest because it's sold out to the local community. Very successful. So that's a big focus for us. So it really is bespoke. And it's intriguing coming out of big brands and moving into Generator, where everything is bespoke, because everything is designed for the local experience.
Yeah. At first there.
Speaking of bespoke facilities planning across all of the brands, how do you approach room sizes, whether it's especially at Bridge Street, where you're looking at one bedrooms versus studios, and Club Med villas versus individual rooms?
I'll go first.
Yeah, okay. Room size then. There's one first thing is it really depends on the continent. We would not have the same standard room size whether we'd be in China, in Asia, in Europe, or in the US, because there is an existing industry that has different patterns. So we have admitted that even if our guests are traveling from Europe to Asia, from Asia to America, and vice versa, the rooms in these different places, for a price that could be the same, might be of different size. Then the family experience is very important in our product. So we have a very big number of family rooms with a sofa bed welcoming kids under 12, with rooms for 4 people. And then we designed this for club rooms with 3, club rooms with 4, then deluxe room with 3, deluxe room with 4, suite for couples, and 3 suites for families. So we've got the whole range. And indeed, depending on the type of product we want to do, more or less family oriented, we would design a number of family rooms or deluxe or suite accordingly in each of these projects.
So location drives everything, and we're a highly urban product, and we are deeply encouraging our partners and landlords to build smaller footprints. That's equally being pushed by urban demand and changes in home formation, and how there's longer structural change, particularly in America, with a more positive view of renting on a longer basis. So that's going to create restriction of supply. So when you pull all that back, and just for the sake of this example and trying to keep it short, is where we have bulk of our demand is in our living brand, which is kind of it is equivalent in, if you anchor this as a mental anchor, it's a 4-star Marriott experience. And we try, and a 1 bed would be somewhere around about 40 square meters or so, maybe a little larger, a little smaller, high design, And we have to think of it in two lights. One is it's a workspace. We have a lot of consultants, as well as then they behave differently when they're living there. So the workspace, as well as living, you're working and you're blending a lifestyle. So it has to have all of those amenities. So you do need some space, or else claustrophobia kicks in rather quickly. Mode, on the other hand, is designed for, we have studios as small as 180 square feet, 18 square meters. And that is just, it's designed for fun. So we'll compensate with a balcony. We'll compensate with giving you a better location, but a much more fun room that you actually might request because it has a balcony. And then it's going up to in the 30s and 40s again. But the Mode brand is really designed for urban repurposing. So we're taking office buildings, we're taking some warehouses, we're taking former expansion in Paris, for instance, is taking the back courtyard and adding a modern twist to an old design. And so that's all about the location. It's all about the lifestyle, and and a lot more about the blended room space of public space.
You all mentioned a sense of community. You've all mentioned the belonging and the loyalty of your customer. What about the digital experience you offer?
It's kind of a given. It's a given that you need to be digitally savvy. And if you're not, you're going to date yourself immediately. In Mode, for instance, everything's RFID. It's, when the way it's being designed is that when, associates check in or teammates, they wave their phone. It gives them messages as to which guests are in house and which ones are important or VIPs when they walk past the check-in place in the morning. You're going to be able to pick your own room. Listening to the speaker yesterday, you got to press a button and that's it. It's all centered around this, and it immediately dates you if you're not. And so posting to our Instagram wall should be easy. It just needs to be easy, or else you're just not relevant.
But
that goes for the whole industry, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether you're in economy hotels or luxury, digital and wireless and efficiency and apps and data collection, right? In terms of understanding your customer is absolutely paramount.
Mm-hmm. But maybe you have there is room for improvement, and room for improvement in whatever you can deal with within the resort or within the place with your device.
Sure.
There we have not explored everything we could.
No,
and
we haven't.
There is a big thing to be done, most probably. And we're
it's
all
not,
working
it's not
on
cheap.
it, obviously.
But it's getting big data to be small data. Everybody thinks about, it's out there in the cloud. And it's interpreting it down to the 4 drivers of any business. There's probably 3 to 5 things that drives the business, and being abundantly clear as to what those drivers are. Really hot water sounds really good, and that goes for all of us, right? Air conditioning to a certain extent, depending on which country you're in.
The thing about the customer profile, certainly in Fred's and our brand, the average age of our customer is 26, that kind of, and of course, everybody's now digitally savvy. Even my mother, who's 84 years old, can now use this in the iPad, right? So that's now happening across the board. But certainly the digital customer or the young customer who's coming is completely, I think they've become too addicted. As a parent, I say that now. And some of us have, teenage sons or daughters, and they're always on this, right? And we complain about it, but they are. And, they come to our hotels and they're instant feedback you get. I read it. I sometimes just go to see what's going on in our hotels. All I have to do is read the comments. All right? It's instant, this is bad, that's good, that's great. And so I know what's going on in the hotel. I don't have to ask Eric. I can just read the feedback in the rooms. It's very instant because they're constantly on it. And therefore, the feedback is, in fact, we instituted a scheme in our hotels. And in fact, it was Eric's idea, who was the CEO, he's right here, was how do we motivate our operations, if you like, to look at guest feedback. So we have a scheme by which we actually have a product which looks at feedback from different websites like TripAdvisor and others. And we average it out, and as the hotel performs vis-a-vis that rating, the hotel manager is given an incentive or a bonus. So he also gets a bonus based on guest feedback. If he doesn't give a feedback above target of 75% of the responses don't go within one day, he gets nothing. He has to achieve that hurdle. So our communication with guests with this device has improved considerably, and we motivate our staff both with carrots and sticks to make sure that they're actually very much focused on their customer experience. So that's very important too in this particular case.
I have one question to Frederick that is really burning on my tongue since we started here. Because you're coming out of a company like Residor, we read it this morning, they bought a big portion of a Price Hotel. Why do these new products like generator mining, why do they don't come out of this world-leading big hospitality firms?
I think they will. I think Kristen said I just sent out a press release saying they're looking at the hostel space. It came out at 11:27 today. So
you didn't notice that was 11:27?
No, I did, because the phone was ringing from everywhere. Hilton, so I know why Hilton are crawling all over me. No, it's good. Why didn't it come out of there? It's interesting. I checked into a very, very good 4-star brand in Rome. I won't name who it was the other day. And I was reminded about why I don't want to be in that segment anymore. Big brand boxes. The check-in was flawless. Everything was fantastic. I walked away with 7 different things after check-in. I had a map. I had a voucher for a discount on lunch. I had a voucher for a discount on a massage. And I had another map, and then a history about the building. And to be honest with you, I didn't care about any of it. And I remembered all the things I used to do sitting in the headquarters in Minneapolis for Radisson and creating all this stuff that the actual guest didn't want and the owner had to pay for. And wow, is the hostel experience simplifying life. So I didn't answer your question, but I think it's very difficult when you're living in this hierarchy with head offices that are bigger than governments, that are inventing stuff for job security, loyalty programs. We don't use loyalty programs. If our customer experience isn't good enough, they won't come back. And if you invested all the money that a loyalty program costs into making the experience better, brands don't need them either. So I think it's difficult to make the transition into a very simple model where you're actually back to the basics, back to the hut 50 years ago of having a family or young people staying at a Club Med. They didn't get a voucher, they didn't get any points, they didn't get anything. They just had a brilliant experience at a good price.
But we're seeing it, we're inspired from other industries though. I mean, we're one of the few that do not have an incubator unit for, mentality. If you look at pharma, if you look at tech, they're constantly acquiring the incubators.
Yeah.
They're constantly acquiring the innovators. I mean, we listened to it yesterday, you hear it in the press all the time. And this industry, for whatever reason, seems to be challenged when it comes to having free thinking. And then naturally there's going to be the larger brands that now they're looking at hostels and going, well, that was a good idea. Well, it was a good idea 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's that incubator, agile, fun, let's go try it community and we keep coming back to community. We have teammates, we don't have employees. We work together to be innovative.
I think the one thing that, particularly with hostels, I'm sure the big brands are, clever enough and they design something. If it's successful, it makes so much money. Why not, right? There won't be, and we will have people coming in and saying, "Let's do this." Generator and us are probably the leaders in this. There are not many brands of this size in this market. But one thing that's different is that we focus very much on beds. So, for example, our MIS is all about revenue per available bed. ADR, not ADR, but average bed rate, ABR, everything's per bed. And our reservation systems, our focus exactly is per bed. And that's not what hotels do. They think per key, right? And that'll take a lot of time to change that fundamental, the whole, ecosystem is based on that.
But even adding just to the mixed use development piece, highest and best use, you're listening to maximizing the footprint rather than, with all due respect, this is a pretty inefficient use of space. When you think of what a meeting room goes for, a couple of $100, right? How many beds could you fit in here?
A lot. There'll be a barracks for the army.
Right. So probably a pretty good use of space. And that attitude about being agile, an incubator unit, looking at space differently, looking at highest and best use, looking at best yield, is either the type of model that my colleagues here are speaking to are taking disparate land somewhere and making the best use of that, which wouldn't probably have a use. So, you know, it's a interesting space to be in. I think most of us have come out of big branded environments, and just have the freedom to sit down with your friends and get together and go, how do you think we should design this thing? And we just go try it out.
Talking about space, you know, we in our industry, you know, we have people trying to aggregate information like STR and give you comparables, and we don't have that in the hotels and the hostel sector.
Yeah.
So Fred and I and some other guys who run hostels, we got together and we have. And we'll announce it quite soon, I think. I don't know whether I'm allowed to say it, but we should. But we've got STR working on giving us data, putting our data together, and giving comparable data for investors, so they can get idea about how much we make in terms of revenue, etc., and in other detailed information. And the interesting thing was that we said when we had this meeting, I think it was early January, right? So why don't we compare? Also give information about per square meter, right? And you know, I remember this discussion, and you were on the call, and SGR said, you know, the thing is, we never get this data from hoteliers. They do not know.
Yeah, I know that.
All right.
So we are a little bit in the time discussion. Is there any question that might come from you? Afterwards, I think we are all here for some minutes. If there are a detailed question to the panelists directly. Okay. So then I say thank you very much for my panelists. Thank you for you for your patience. And,